If it is your dream to start farming, working rural land, start a homestead, start your own farm, make money off of agricultural endeavors in 2025, which if it is your dream to do that, you are definitely not alone. There's absolutely a movement right now. I'm gonna go over in this video 3 different ways you can find this farmland, this zoned rural land or zoned agricultural land in the United States right now. And I'm going off of my experience as someone who just bought 6.74 acres of rural land in upstate New York. I am in Saratoga County. There's a bunch of ways you can find this land. Some ways are going to introduce you to more expensive farmland, while other ways are going to introduce you to cheaper farmland. And as you guessed it, the cheaper farmland is going to require a little more work on your end in the beginning. A lot of people don't know that $24 trillion worth of farmland in our country is going to change hands over the next 20 years, since the average American farmer is over the age of 60. That farmland is either going to go to their kids, it's going to go to corporations, it's going to go to Wall Street or foreign entities. And I always come on here and say it's a much better future if you guys and people like me, people like you, buy this farmland as opposed to massive corporate ag conglomerates that are spraying God knows what into the atmosphere. So the first way you can find farmland for sale in this country, and this is how I did it, is by opening up trusty old Zillow. Yes, Zillow can be used for more than just finding residential homes in suburban neighborhoods. If you go on and filter for lots and land, that's what I did. I did not want a structure on it. It's gonna show you plain land for sale. This is how you're gonna find undeveloped or raw land. My land was undeveloped, minus a well. It did come with a well, but it did not have septic or electric at the road, so it was still classified as raw land. To find this raw land on Zillow, filter for lots and land, and you're gonna look probably around 15 minutes outside of a city center. Zoned agricultural land is zoned that way due to population. You're gonna find rural land where there is a smaller population. That's how Farm Credit East decides if they're gonna issue a loan for rural land or not. Is it populated? Is it not? Look up a city that you want to be near. So in my case, I am 19 minutes outside of Saratoga Springs. That was on purpose. If I host workshops or different things in the structure I'm in right now, I did want there to be a certain group of people that would make their way out here to possibly pay for a workshop ticket or do pick your own. I do plan to have pick your own, possibly pick your own flowers, pick your own produce at the farm this summer. If you do not want a business model where you need the public to come to your space to buy tickets or do pick your own, then you can be 60 minutes outside of a city center. The farther away from the city center you go, the cheaper the land is going to be. Obviously, if the land has no utilities, it's going to be cheaper than if the land does have utilities. So those are just some things to keep in mind. There's also other sites like Zillow, there's LandWatch, there's other spin-offs of Zillow. I just personally find that Zillow usually updates with the most relevant information the most quickly. And I also find that the real estate agents on Zillow are super responsive. So when I submitted on Zillow for the land I now own, the real estate agent associated with the listing called me in 20 minutes. I was actually cracking up that she called me that fast. I was like, dang, these people are ready to go on Zillow. I've just found the experience to be pretty transparent and easy. Land that you're gonna find on Zillow is going to be a fair rate. Again, depends on where the land is located, but there are still other options for finding even cheaper land that I will go over later in this video. The second option, this is going to be the most expensive option, is buying the farm as a business entity, so an already existing farm. I use websites like BizBuySell, if you guys have ever heard of it. I go on there sometimes just to see local businesses that might be for sale, what they might cost. They're usually way out of my budget, but I still just like to shop on there anyway. Websites like that are going to include entire farms for sale, so you're going to get everything related to the farm. The logo, the products, the land, the processes, all of that. So if you want it all completely bundled up and handed to you through a very proper legal transaction, that's absolutely an avenue for you to go on. There are business loans and things that you can get, of that nature if you want to go that route. I have not personally done that, so I can't speak to that at an expert level for you guys, but again, it's just still something to consider, and it might be a good starting point if you just want to see what types of farms are in the area that you're looking at. You can always call up the business representative and ask them questions. I went on a few tours in the area, touring different farms and agricultural businesses with the business lister, and I learned so much information. Even though I didn't end up buying any of these businesses, I got 2-hour tours at the operations and asked a whole slew of questions. It was all free to do that. Your third option is simply getting in your car and driving around. I have shopped land from New York State down to Florida. I've shopped in the Carolinas, Virginia, all of it. A lot of the times, undeveloped, unimproved land is not going to make its way onto the internet. So by simply driving around, you might see one of those signs at the side of the road with a phone number, call it up, and you might be surprised. There's also a lot of people that do for sale by owner. That's when the owner of the land is just selling it directly to you. They don't want a real estate agent to take a cut. You're gonna find that's very common in rural areas for people who don't trust the government, they don't trust the internet. They're gonna wanna do it for sale by owner, and a lot of those folks do end up living in the country. Doing things for sale by owner, you're probably gonna find a good deal with the land, or you can negotiate with them in that case. But do keep in mind, if they are not using a real estate agent, you might still wanna use one. If you don't have an expert grasp on real estate transactions, I would just be careful, tread cautiously, still get a real estate agent, maybe a lawyer in that case. Don't anybody come on here and say, oh, Alex told me to buy for sale by owner and now I got ripped off. Don't do that to me, please. Please do your due diligence if you are going to pursue that method. Last method. This is what everyone is talking about right now, and a lot of people say to me, how, so I'm gonna go over it right now. There is the option of contacting the farmers themselves directly. By doing this, you can set up a bunch of different arrangements with them. I have visited a lot of farms in this area, run by couples in their 70s. They are exhausted. They are absolutely willing to either break up their farm, lease part of their land, do any type of thing that's going to give them a monthly income from merely allowing you to take part in the farm with them. What you can do in this case is approach the farmers, lease land from them, set up a trust, a charitable remainder trust. This is a big topic, I think, for 2025. It allows the farmer to put the land in a trust. You pay off the farmer once a month for either the remainder of the value of the land or until the farmer passes on. I've had people comment this. The arrangement is until the farmer passes on, which in many cases, if the farmer's 75 or so, who knows? The value of the farm was $800K and you only ended up paying the farmer $100K and the farmer passes on. That's a pretty good deal on your end. It's obviously not great that someone passed on, but these are things that are being discussed. There is also just the option of paying the farmer off until the value of the land itself is paid off. Farmers love this because they now have a monthly income that they didn't used to have, simply from allowing you to use the land that they aren't probably using. So many of these farmers are using 1/18 of the land they inherited from their parents and their grandparents. Back when more land meant more profits, that is still the case today, but the value of farmland, the taxes, all of that have just made it really impossible for the modern farmer to turn the profits they deserve and should be able to turn. How do you find these farmers? This is something that is very not 2025. We have become a society that is afraid to pick up the phone, contact another human being, knock on the door, or shake a hand. I blame COVID partially for this. To get in contact with these farmers, you have a lot of options. You can visit their farms. If there's a no trespassing sign, please be aware of that. How are you gonna find the farm? Google Maps, that's what I do. Apple Maps on my iPhone. I'll just type in farm in a general area and a bunch will pop up. Drive to them, see if they're open, see if they have a farm store. A lot of the dairy farms here have a farm store with its own farm hours. I go to the farm store. I talk to the people working at the farm store. They might not necessarily be the farmers, but I'll say to them, hey, do you know if the farmers here are interested in cutting up their farm, leasing out plots or anything like that? Most of the time, these people are receptive to that and they go, yeah, absolutely. Let me give you their phone number. Let me give you their email. That's option 1. Physically go to the farms. 2, look up their phone numbers, call the farms. 3, go to where the farmers are going to be. Maybe an American Legion Hall, maybe a weekly meet up at a bar in town that a lot of the rural folks go to. Maybe a potluck. A lot of the towns around here do Sunday potlucks at breweries and things like that. Hang up flyers, and I see it in the storage shops and the tractor supplies. People have put up flyers saying, looking for 1 to 2 acres of farmland to garden for my family, willing to start renting or leasing immediately. I see these flyers, and I've seen people in local Facebook groups say farmers will call them and say, hey, I have 100 acres, I'm only using 50 of it. How much acreage do you want to rent? And to them, it's what's 2 acres of their 100 acres. Farmers will agree to $50 down, just $50 down, up through $500 a month, a payment, $150 per acre a month. Which, if you do the math, if that's all you're paying to grow, maybe all the food your family eats, that doesn't even hold a candle to what a grocery store bill is every week. I've seen people post online. I'll put the picture here. On 1/3 of an acre, someone made around $85,000 in 2024, and I've been exploring how that is and was possible, and I do think we are going to start to see more of that. So On 1 acre, you can feed your family, turn a profit. I think a lot of people think you need 20 acres to be a farmer or to do this. I only have 6.74 acres and I'm only using about 1.5 of my acres. I'm leaving multiple acres wild for the pollinators. You do not need the amount of land you think you need. One caveat to that, based on your state, there's going to be an acreage minimum to be registered as an official farm. There are tax breaks and benefits to being registered as an official farm with the state. So you might just want to look that up. In New York State, I believe it is 7 acres. I am 0.26 acres short of that. I will be pursuing this month and next month, calling them and seeing, you know, what I can do about that, or see if they're willing to bend the rules or whatever. Obviously, I will be reporting all of that to you guys here. I'm about to learn so much when it comes to taxes and tax credits starting now. Luckily, my best friend is a CPA, so I'm going to start bothering her next weekend to explore all of that with me. But I just see so many people online think this is going to cost millions of dollars. They think they need 50 acres. They think the only way to find the land is by going to a website like BizBuySell, and that just is not true. There are multiple avenues for you to find this farmland. I went over 4 of them in this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. I really, truly, passionately believe it is so much better for our planet, for our country, if you guys buy this land. And again, 20 acres, if that's out of your budget, it's out of a lot of people's budget, because you know what? You don't need 20 acres. You need 3. And if you want to make an acreage minimum for certain tax breaks, maybe you need 6, maybe you need 5. Maybe you can go in on 7 acres with somebody else, with 7 other people, because you really will only need 1 of those 7 acres. There's so many options available to you, but I use Zillow. I had nothing but a great experience with Zillow. You're going to find farmland, you know, usually 15 minutes outside of a city center, and then it's going to cost, based on the utilities and the proximity to affluence or a city center, is going to be the first elements factored into how much the farmland is going to cost. With that, I'm starting to get excited that spring will be here before we know it. I will begin all my seedlings and whatnot indoors at the end of February or early March even. So I'm getting excited. I'm starting to miss it. I was over it in October. I needed a little rest. Now I'm starting to miss it. There's nothing more amazing and rewarding than being outside and gardening. I can attest to this firsthand, and I really have no idea what I'm doing yet. I cover all things land loans, the USDA, Farm Credit East, Amish culture, starting a farm from scratch, and so on this channel. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, follow along, and I have so much more content coming your way. Bye.